got the TI Combi 150 by NTI. I want to show you what needs to be disconnected. You have essentially these bolts here. We are cleaning out the combustion chamber. Now down below you have a blower, and it is plugged in like this, and you disconnect it. Your ground is there, that's together. You want to make sure when you pull this off you're not going to rip anything out. There's a wire just tucked behind there. I would pull that, and you're going to disconnect the end of the wire like I did. There's a couple spade connectors that run over here. So you pull those off. And then there was a tube down below here that is actually connected right there. And it's got a little thing on it, a clamp. When you put it back together, you want to make sure you put the clamp back on. If there's a clamp there, make sure it gets clamped. And I loosened up these. There's a compression type union there with a rubber boot in it. It's stainless. So you loosen up both of these. Once you take the screws out, we disassemble it down here. Unplug everything, the wiring harness, and take those bolts out and pull it out. So this is the heat exchanger. We just cleaned it out. I showed you how to take it apart. So they're pretty clean now. So what did I do and how did I do it? Essentially, NTI says they don't want you to use any chemicals or anything on this, just water. So what I found was a couple brushes that worked really good, and essentially you got this big yellow like tire brush. It gets in there, and the whole idea is to get water inside here. And if you look down below, you kind of see my setup. What I have is a bucket that's wedged in here, and it's coming out the drain on the bottom. The drain itself is something that you need to be aware of. You need to keep it clean. It gets like a sludge inside. This is the cap that comes off. It's fairly easy. Just put a bucket under it, open it up, and flush it out. The condensation that gets in here comes from the propane itself as it burns, because it's a gas. As it burns, it releases moisture. That's why if you burn a vent-free propane heater in a house, you'll find your windows will fog up and the moisture level in your house will increase, and you can actually get mold growing. So something a lot of people aren't aware of. But anyhow, this is another brush. It's even got a part on it. It's called a Sparta 8500, made in the USA. It's a good brush, I'll tell you what. And it mounts on a broom. It's got handles for it. And the trick to this, you want to be able to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So this works perfect. The key is you need to get in, you got to press through the tubes, because the gases go through the tubes and out the chimney. So you can't have any blockage. You need to be able to press the bristles down in between the pipes. And you just keep working at it and working at it and working at it, and eventually this stuff breaks down. It's kind of a crusty stuff when I started. And the trick is to get it saturated with water and just kind of let it soak. So you keep adding water, and just a regular one of these little pads here that you have in your kitchen, and then you just go back and forth, on your stubborn spots. This has got like an abrasive, not too bad though. And some places where there's that scale and it doesn't want to come off, you can work it with that. So what I was found that I was able to get a lot of water in there and just swirl it around, swirl it around. You can, these bristles are long, you can press them in too. You can take your hand and push hard to get the bristles to go through. And you just keep working your way around and around and around and around. I've been working on this for a couple hours. So if you're kind of like me, you know, a little bit on the picky side, I think I would do this myself versus hiring somebody to do it. They probably wouldn't do as good a job as I will do. But they recommend that you would hire any licensed HVAC contractor to do this for you. If you don't want to get dirty, then definitely get it done. It's not something you want to mess around with if you do have an NTI boiler. What will happen if you have an issue, and just kind of give you an idea, if you have one of these boilers and you're using it and you get an error message, it says error 4, and what that is telling you is your stack temperature is too high. And how your stack temperature gets too high is the coils that are inside this chamber get plugged up, the gaps in between. So the gases can't escape. As you can see, my knife fits in between here. And these grooves are where the gases from the propane, when it burns, they go out here and then up the chimney and out. So this is how this particular boiler works. So if you get that error 5 message and you've not cleaned your boiler out, this is probably your problem. Another issue on these boilers is the water pressure. You have to have enough pressure. Most boilers have a pressure system, a pressure gauge, and this shows I'm about 7 pounds, which is too low. So I'm going to have to flush my system. You can get sediment in your plumbing, in the system itself, and which can restrict the flow and drop your water pressure. This unit has a couple of pressure gauges up in here. You can see them. And they're basically high-low limit switches, basically an on and off. And what you would do to troubleshoot it is you would jumper these wires. And I'm not really going to get into that on YouTube on how to troubleshoot this. It's best that you call a technician or read your owner's manual. But I am going to show you, how to clean it and maintain it, because it's something every homeowner, I think, should know about it. So this is something you may have to do yourself at some point. So this is how you would do it. Now I'm going to continue to rinse this. Rinsing this is important. How do you know when you've rinsed it enough? The key is in the bucket. I'm going to tip you over. You can see there's the condensation drain, and it's draining into the bucket, and you can see it's pretty yucky. When the water starts coming out of there and it's clean, then you know that you have flushed it enough. I'm going to go dump that bucket and put some clean water, or actually just empty it and get some clean water in both my buckets and finish flushing this. Why do you want to flush it? It's just to make sure that you don't have any sulfur or anything that's corrosive on those coils. So just keep flushing them with water, keep flushing them, and then what that does is as the water goes through, it kind of rinses out the outside of this as well, and all that stuff goes down the drain. Because there's a drain in the bottom. And if you look, I can't really see it, but believe me, there is. And the drain runs from the bottom of it. It's almost like a can. And it goes down and then all the way through. So this is called a condensing boiler. And this is Woody from Obadiah's, and this is how you do this.